So this Essity survey has been very, very interesting because we're seeing a huge demand for people to get out, both there and at the Lost Gardens of Heligan.
BBC Radio Oxford.
Make a difference.
Now, have you been more aware of the environment during lockdown, with few airplanes flying and the roads practically empty and no litter on the streets? Well, it's quite nice, wasn't it? Will you continue? Plastic-free July is slowly coming to an end, but I want to make sure that we all keep up the efforts. So I've drafted in Sir Tim Smit, who's the founder of the Eden Project.
Now, we have been hearing about a study saying many British people feel that for the first time they really appreciate green spaces surrounding them, as lockdown has meant our gardens, local parks and fields have become vital for our well-being. Half of us say the lockdown has made us more environmentally friendly. Most of us planning to stick to our new ways. Now the lockdown is easing. Certainly found fridge management was quite good, you know what I mean? Not wasting food so much. Let's get a view of, find out more about this survey. Joining me now on LBC News, founder of the Eden Project, Sir Tim Smit. Good to have you on the programme. Tell us about the findings, first of all.
Well, the findings are actually not a great surprise, except it's very nice to have your instincts reinforced by a lot of people answering questions in the way you'd hope.
So at this point, let's bring in Joe Pybus from Essity, who are a manufacturer. So you've received the message, understood the message and done something about it. Is it as simple as that?
I think everybody recognises that the world as a whole needs to change. And in fact, we've just published some research that we've taken upon ourselves to do, to look at how coronavirus has impacted the nation's attitude towards sustainability and barriers to us all leading a more sustainable life. And the results actually suggest that not just a few of us, but millions of us have been trying to be more sustainable since lockdown, and that includes me, but it does include people trying to use fewer single-use items, recycling more, looking at their food waste and even spending less time in the shower, and lots of people intend to carry on doing that as restrictions lift.
A lot of politicians have talked a lot in recent weeks about the importance of a green recovery in the aftermath of the pandemic. A new survey here in the UK, commissioned by the personal and professional hygiene specialists Essity, suggests not only that we've recycled more and bought less plastic, but lockdowns made us appreciate nature more.
It's nice to be able to get out, to be in a different place, to enjoy time with family.
Absolutely love it. It is gorgeous. The flowers are stunning.
We've been a few times.
Well, that's the reaction of visitors to the astonishing Eden Project in Cornwall, which has just reopened after lockdown. Its co-founder is Sir Tim Smit, who is also the force behind the restoration of the Heligan Gardens in the same part of the country. Where do you think there are grounds for optimism in terms of a change in social attitudes towards the environment, our ecology, the way we behave in respect to those after COVID? Where do you see grounds for optimism?
Well, the Essity survey shows you that the population wants it. They want the changes that they've been made aware of.
You use the word aspirations, and I think actually the important thing is that people do have aspirations to be better, to be kinder to the environment. But it's just getting where they want to get to. It's just achieving the goals that perhaps, they put in place. That's the kind of hard bit. But once you start applying, changing your mindsets and fulfilling those aspirations, however big and small, you start getting somewhere. You start making a difference. Together we're stronger. We're all in this together. We've got to look after our planet. And we've just got to get that message through. But we've all got to respect the messages, haven't we?
You said it's confusing, and you can only agree there that it's very difficult to tell. I wonder if there's a need for something like a kite mark, that there should be a standard of sustainability, that you can then put this badge on your packaging and everybody knows that it's qualified for it. Well, is that too much to ask? Am I being simplistic here?
You're being simplistic, but actually we do need to start being simpler in the way that we talk to people, because they've told us they're confused, they don't understand the words, the claims, how transparent people are, can they trust brands? And actually that really is the nutshell that we're trying to get to, is that we can't change anything by ourselves, and we're looking at the way that we communicate to your listeners about what we do on our products. So we're going to use language that are the words that we use in everyday life, like reduce, reuse, recycle, and being responsible.
Now, most of us have discovered green spaces near our homes, and if we're fortunate enough to have one, more time in the garden as well. And have we been more environmentally friendly during lockdown? Ella Dace is an activist and environmentalist. Good afternoon, Ella. How are you? So, Ella, how do you think our attitude towards the environment has changed in the past few months? It feels like it's really been brought into focus.
Yeah, it definitely has. Before lockdown, we were all going at 1,000 miles an hour, and we didn't take much time to appreciate it. But since we've been stuck indoors, it's been somewhere to really relax and just take stock of everything that's going on, and we're really connecting to nature more than we ever have before.
We're going to speak to a company that provides all the toilet roll for the NHS, and they make hand sanitizer gel. You might not have heard of them because they're a Swedish firm called Essity, and we can speak to the president of that company. Volker Zoller is on LBC News. And which countries are buying the most hand sanitizer and PPE?
I think, generally speaking, in Europe we see an increasing in demand. I think specifically for hand sanitizer we are selling between 400-500% of what we are selling usually.
And how did the operations change in terms of increasing capacity to your factories and keeping them open when many places were closed due to lockdown?
Well, Essity is a hygiene and health company. We are manufacturing essential products, and I think we have given this key worker status in the UK, so we could keep our manufacturing sites open. I think we have been also benefiting very much from our presence in China. We could transfer many experience and best practices from China to Europe. And I think during this panic buying of toilet paper in March, we had to very quickly adapt. And the priority for us was always to keep employees safe at work. And we have been extending quite shifts in our factories. For example, in Manchester, we are producing 1 million toilet paper rolls per day. So we have really significantly increased our operations.
And tell us about how consumer habits are changing when it comes to making sure that we're looking after our world, our environment and sustainability.
I think that's quite interesting. Consumers demand sustainability. They don't compromise with the performance of the product. They are not willing to pay for that. Actually, there is an exception. 75% of the millennials are willing to pay for sustainability. And thirdly, it needs to be credible. So it's not about greenwashing. And we have been doing some research how coronavirus has impacted the behaviors towards sustainability. And more than half of the UK consumers have demonstrated a more sustainable behavior during COVID time. So washing hands more frequently, recycling, reusing, reducing waste. And most of the respondents in the survey said they want to have a new, greener living, and they want to make the right environmental choices.
81% actually saying that the environment is now more important to them personally as a result of the pandemic, which is a good sort of element. But the key thing is, what do we do about it? Jo, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, as a global health and hygiene company, at Essity, we really provide many of those everyday essential products we all use in and out of our homes, like loo roll, for example. So actually understanding how the nation feels about sustainability and the challenges and barriers that they see in becoming more sustainable is a really key way for us to sort of do our bit to help, if you like, as we sort of emerge blinking into a new normal. And what's been so encouraging has been the number of people who've said they've been taking action, they've been doing something different. I have too, and they want to carry on, but they're confused.
Is it, Ella, something that there's an educational aspect here that we really need to be addressing here?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, to me, there was no surprise that there are barriers for people and it's preventing them from living more sustainably. That's what the research has found from Essity.
Essity.co.uk, and scroll down to the bottom, the report's called The Green Recovery.
What would you say to someone who feels a bit helpless to have an impact?
The great thing is that as individuals, we really can bring about change, whether it's taking positive steps to cutting down on unnecessary plastic in our lives, like making switches from using a reusable bottle and washable makeup wipes instead of disposable versions. That's great because it eliminates unnecessary waste and saves resources, but oftentimes also saves us cash as well. And that's a win-win for us and the environment.
Clearer packaging and understandable words on the packet. Who'd have thought that would happen, Ella?
Decision-making processes.
Yeah, and Joe, I would think that once Essity do it, if it proves to be a success and the sales go up, crucially, as a result of it, and the responses are good, then other companies are going to follow suit.
Yes, I mean, I'm hoping that with this report we really spark some debate.
Many of us feel that for the first time we've really appreciated the green spaces surrounding us as lockdowns meant our gardens, local parks and fields have become vital to our well-being. But we need to think about our environment and how do we become more environmentally friendly from this point forward. To tell us more, I'm joined now by Ella Daish, environmental activist, and Joe Pybus of Essity, the name behind the brands Cushelle, Bodyform, Tenor and Plenty. Hello!
We can all take those steps to make that difference as well. And like you said, you know, we are really starting to appreciate the outside world more and more because we've been stuck inside for so long with lockdown. And usually we're going 1,000 miles an hour in our day-to-day lives and don't spend much time in nature.
And Joe, I mean, working for Essity, obviously the big brand names we mentioned, Cushelle, Bodyform, Tenor, Plenty, all of these we need to you know, are part of our lives. They're essential. They are essential disposable items. But it's the sourcing and the way in which the companies behind them treat the world more ethically that can make a difference.
Absolutely, and because our products are so essentially integrated into everyday life, we thought it was really important to understand how the nation's attitude towards sustainability had been impacted by coronavirus and the barriers that were preventing them from leading more sustainable lives. And you're right, people have become so much more sustainable since lockdown. You know, I've been doing my meal plans so I don't waste food, but people are also really confused about sustainability and what the words mean, and can they trust companies, as you say, to source and provide those products ethically. So that's one of the things that we really want to spark a debate on, really. How can companies work together better to stop people being confused, to help them make sustainable choices, to help them be responsible. That's one of the things that we will talk about, being in the future responsible and helping people to reduce, reuse and recycle more. So essentially waste less. And I think by doing those two things, people have got a good start.
And this is all part of the sort of brands that we want to buy into and the sort of people who, you know, will be at the forefront of making a difference, and the environment goes alongside human health, goes alongside just having the sort of pride to be able to stand up and say that we're a community that actually looks after others.
Clearly from this research from Essity that there are barriers preventing people from living sustainably, but there is so much passion to do things in the right way.
So we're going to start talking in much simpler language that people understand about the things that they can do and the things that we're doing.
Tim Smith, KBE, founder of the Eden Project, on how we can all be a bit more environmentally friendly, as 81% of us in a new survey say it is more important to us since the pandemic. We just don't really know how to do it. He's got some interesting views on that you will hear from 10 o'clock tomorrow morning.
There's some research that has just been done by a health and hygiene company, Essity, and the great thing is that it shows that people are living more sustainably since lockdown began. And what's really encouraging is that they intend to stick to it as well. So it just goes to show that how many people there are that are passionate about the environment and want to do something to make better choices.
For me, I think it's been the fact that we've all been locked up at home and we've been able to get out and then enjoy nature a little bit more. I mean, our research from Essity has shown how coronavirus has impacted the nation's attitude towards sustainability in a really positive way. We've seen that not just a few of us, but millions of us have taken action to be more sustainable since lockdown, me included, and the majority intend to carry on as restrictions lift.
A new survey here in the UK, commissioned by the personal and professional hygiene specialist, Essity, suggests not only that we've recycled more and bought less plastic, but lockdown has made us appreciate nature even more.
According to a new report out today from Essity, half of us say we have become more sustainable since the beginning of lockdown.
Well, when I was reading the research conducted by Essity, I was just so encouraged by the amount of people that have become more sustainable since lockdown and the fact that they intend to stick to it. I think when I was going through the lockdown, I was thinking, oh, plastic and everything will be on the back foot of everything that people are thinking about. And I didn't really assume that there would be this amount of people actually becoming more sustainable, which is super great. I also, with the research, it shows that there is also barriers preventing people from living more sustainably.
So, Jill Pybus, the report from Essity, what was the reasoning for the report? What spurred it to go ahead?
Well, as a global health and hygiene company, Essity provides many of those everyday essential products that we all use in and out of our homes, like loo roll, for example. So actually, we really think that understanding how coronavirus has impacted the nation's attitude towards sustainability and those barriers that prevent them from being more sustainable are really important for us to do, to be able to make progress in as we sort of emerge blinking into a new normal.
Yeah, so 8 in 10 intend to stick to their greener way of life, and 81% of Brits say the environment is now more important to them as a result of the pandemic.
But I would also encourage people to contact the brands and companies that they buy from.
Lockdown has been tough, but many of us have heard about the return of fresh fish to rivers, birds in the sky, and feeling that the environment is somehow benefiting. Well, there just might be something in that. According to new reports out today from Essity, half of us say we have become more sustainable since the beginning of the lockdown. We've been buying less plastic, recycling more, and reducing single-use items. So, have you been more environmentally friendly during lockdown? Because when the going gets tough, the tough go green.
People are really confused about sustainability, and some even find it overwhelming. And we don't want that to prevent them acting sustainably in the long term.